We're going to call the City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Please rise and join me in the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dean, would you take roll, please?
Councilmember White.
Excused.
Councilmember Cook. Councilmember Fairley.
Here.
Councilmember Osborne. Here. Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Thank you. We need a motion to excuse.
I make a motion to excuse Councilmember White this evening.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember White. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you. Pass.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Pass.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Any questions? Everybody take a look at it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you. Mr. Cook, do you have a report?
I just been on Algona. I was able to go by the Cherry Park work we've been doing there every 2 days. It was kind of nice to see how that developed, and I really like where we ended up so far. And it'll be a really nice addition to our city, and then make it much more functional for us and then our neighborhood. So really appreciate all the work that everybody's done.
Have they made any comments over the work that's been done
I
there?
think John has got most of those comments from the residents. Yes.
Yeah, just a few of the ones that were walking around during that construction. One of the ladies said when she was a little kid, she'd be able to used to hide in the grass and stuff, and now there's no grass left. It'll come.
They don't like you.
Give it a year to prove that. That's it for me.
Yes, Mr. Cook. Mr. Fairley?
Nothing comes to mind. I did check out the Cherry Park.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks, I went by there like every couple of days just to be nosy and check things out.
You were right for the cars.
Yeah. I think they did a real nice job. It's,
Looks good.
yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Osborne?
No, I'm sorry, I have nothing for you, John.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
No, I really don't have anything other than that hotel's going up pretty fast.
No, that is huge. It's way bigger. It's going to be nice.
Is the building down there, I do want to ask you a question, if that's okay.
Sure.
That's, that big yellow building, is that a hotel or a
Yes.
hotel? I know,
It's ours.
that's huge.
Yes.
Where are they gonna find all the people who are?
Well, they feel as we have it, so.
It looks really good.
Also, I noticed the street sweeping has been going along fairly good. I don't know how parking vehicles are cooperating with your signs or not, but looks like we extended it a few more days.
Yeah, we should be done by the end of the week. There's a few cars that haven't moved. We've taken pictures of their license plate, and the next go around we'll be addressing that issue.
Mr. Public Works Director, John.
Hi. All right, just provide you with a brief update. You've all mentioned Cherry Park. We have a grant there for $250,000, and we have to change the scope so we can do some of the other work. The way we did this work was a little different than what was originally laid out, so we're just waiting for that. The Ellingston overlay is pretty much complete, but they still need to raise some of the utilities, install some of the loops, and then you have the pedestrian push button extension arms still need to be put in. Street sweeping, we just talked about that. Should be done by the end of the week. The guys are working really hard. Keeping.
On this street sweeping, the corner of First and Seattle Boulevard, where they stopped and picked up there's a pretty big pile of dirt.
Okay, First and
Seattle Boulevard. South, yes, that's good, yeah, pretty, 4 foot across and 5 foot, 20 inches tall.
yeah, we'll deal with
I'm
it.
gonna go out there with my wheelbarrow and shovel there.
Oh, the guys will deal with it. Thank you for letting us know. Wetland preserve. We're waiting for King County to get back to make sure the insurance that Dirtworks Northwest has is suitable and meets their requirements. And then we're just reviewing some of the submittals from Dirtworks Northwest. I also filed an HPA hydraulic project approval to remove a beaver dam because the water level is too high. Street lights that were vandalized in 2017, we got one quote back for just under $100,000. I expect another couple quotes to come in this week, and then we'll be sending those to the insurance company. It sounds like they're going to pay us for that work. Sewer system CCTV, if you remember, we rejected the first bid that came in. I think it was like $380,000. We went to MSRC, and the lowest one came in at $215,000, which was substantially under what the engineering estimate was. Water purchase, Department of Health is we're talking about the water storage, sorry. I have to back up a little bit sometimes. From the city of Auburn, we can probably get 2 different loans, low interest loans at 2.25%, either from Department of Health or Public Works Board. And Jessica and I met with the city of Auburn. We requested that they also provide us with a letter of support for the financing of that water storage. Flooding, Jessica and I went to meet with the Public Works team in Auburn, and hoping that we can make some headway on the flooding issues. We're going to meet with them again and collaborate as much as we can. I thought I'd give you a quick update on some of the grants that the city has. Cherry Park, we talked about the $250,000 grant. That was, I think, obtained well before my time. Legislature grant, again, we requested a scope change. We want to utilize some of that money, if we are able to the purchase of the property that we're going to be discussing tonight. There's no guarantee that, but it sounds pretty good. The Algona Boulevard bike path, we're still waiting for design from Gray and Osborne. We'll be filing for reimbursements for the Ellingston overlay, coming up probably next week after everything is finalized and punch lists are completed. We had filed for a $250,000 grant from King County, some of it to cover the interpretive trail shortfall that we had. Filing for some additional funding, which we'll talk about later, for design work on 11th down there. And we'll be filing for Safe Streets planning grant. That's due in June, at the end of June. That'll allow us to plan for things that should be done for making our streets safer. This is the second last year that that grant is available. So you really have to get a planning grant first, and then you can go for another grant to actually proceed with the work. And then there's a water smart grant. It's not open yet, but it could pay up to 50% of our water meter upgrade that we're talking about. And it's in tonight's council package. So things left to do, just street sweeping, finalize the flood control plan. First touches tonight. Put permanent fencing around Cherry Park and some drainage. Remove the spoils at 167 ditch from the work that was done last year. Vegetation control, always. Storm drain jetting, that'll be done this summer before winter. And the rainy season starts. Crosswalk striping and torch down. We're looking at what type of capital we need for next year for design work on water lines. We still need to install a catch basin on 4th and Main, finalize the enhanced maintenance plan. And then the last one is kind of interesting. I met with one of the wetland biologists, and we're just out chatting about, what could we do with the parcels that are depicted below there. And the wetland mitigation banking is a potential, and what that would allow us to do is somebody could buy a portion of our land and fill in their land if they have wetland. Right now, and I can't confirm this, but my understanding is about $1.5 million an acre, and we have 10 acres there if we're able to do that. The other thing we could do is take some of our land, like the 1.78 acres, set that aside as wetland, which it already is, and then fill in a portion of one of the other ones. For example, the 4.14, and we could then build something there, either baseball fields or even potentially farmers market to serve the community. So that's pretty much my update for tonight. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you for the report.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Chief Shropshire?
In light of the heavy agenda tonight, I will stand for any questions, but you're going to hear me talk a lot as it goes throughout the day or the evening. So,
City Administrator.
All right. So last week we had our finance committee. We had RMSA show up here and presented on the insurance and their rates and just all the services they provide. I thought it was pretty helpful. I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but
I thought it was real educational. Yeah, that's one report I went to this meeting last week. It was a good meeting.
yeah.
Finance committee, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing tonight.
Are you? Yeah, it was the finance committee meeting. And, yeah, they were sharp.
They were, yeah. Middle housing ordinance, just an update on that. It's still with planning commission. Their meeting is next Thursday, so they'll hopefully get their recommendation to council. In the meantime, we did have the workshop, the last workshop where John talked about it, and we have a draft of it. So if you have any comments you want to send in or input until the next meeting, please send them in. Other than that, any questions?
Thank you. I don't have much to report. I did get an email from King County. They're projected to start paving the interurban trail between 4th Avenue North and 15th Southwest, starting July 7th, running through the 18th. Just want to make sure we pre-warn everybody that they're using the trail, they need to find their own way around. They don't provide any type of detours. Yeah. And I also wanted to thank John and his crew for, number one, for cleaning up that crosswalk over there that was mentioned that King County had installed. And then they got right out, John got a hold of them, they got right out and repaired that crosswalk. I think you mentioned it. And that's all been taken care of for you now. So thank you very much. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me. Let's move on to audience participation. City Council encourages public participation during meetings of the City Council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to the City Council on any issue. The Council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You're also invited to comment on the action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the city council. When addressing the city council, please speak clearly and audibly and state your name and address for the record.
Chris Gomez, 527 Main Street. The only thing I have to say tonight is, I noticed after all the streets were, some of the curbsides were swept, you can notice there's a lot of growth between this asphalt and this the concrete sidewalk or curb. And it's getting kind of high, and I was wondering if that's going to be part of the vegetation control.
We'll definitely look at that. I'll let the guys know tomorrow.
Corner of North 6th and Main, you can see it growing around the corner. It's probably about that tall. And then there's a couple cracks down there that's got grass growing through it. So that I know that when grass grows in asphalt, it doesn't take very long for it to fall apart.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to discussion items. First item up for discussion is item A, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, which is LEAD LEAD Program Agreement.
Okay, we've talked about LEAD for several months now. You guys remember the executive director, Lisa Dugard, came to give a presentation. As we've talked about previously, we received $850,000 roughly from the state legislature through a grant program to start up a LEAD program between us and the city of Des Moines. We're a little bit late on getting the contract going because there was some confusion that was created by King County with the city of Des Moines about who they thought they were just going to divide the money in half and they were going to go their own way and we were going to go ours. But that issue has been resolved and you have the contract for review. And we will be moving forward where the city of Algona will be the fiduciary for the grant, and we will manage the grant jointly. We went with the LEAD office in Burien. We're going to pay for a half FTE per city, so a whole FTE to take care of both cities. And they'll be working out of the Burien office. That will cut down on costs, us or the city of Des Moines having to provide services. So this is second touch, so it'll be up for final passage next council meeting, but we are going to move forward with the contract and unless there's any reservations from the council.
Any questions for Chief Structure?
Yeah, and you said 800 some thousand. I saw a figure in there like 330 some thousand.
Each year per city.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So it's split over the state budget's divided into two. It's split over the biennium, but it's roughly around 800, I think 830. So,
Okay, thanks.
but yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. Item B is resolution 1299-25, 2025 Transportation Improvement Plan.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
So this is the transportation improvement plan that we had provided last council meeting. Nothing has changed on it, and I think I answered your question, Councilmember Thomas. I sent you an email. You had a question about first.
I did see that. However, I don't think it was a question I asked intentionally.
Okay.
I just was curious.
Yeah, no, I followed up on that, and these were the latest ones from Gray Osborne.
Right. My question was, when did they take First Avenue off the list?
They sent me a couple of years and it wasn't on first.
So I figured they took it off in lieu of doing some patch work at the crossings. Was I think the last time we talked about it, and of course the crossings are still an issue. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We'll move on to Item C, ordinance number 1253-25, 2025 budget amendment.
All right, so this is our second look at this first budget amendment. This one includes the additional final award for the wetland preserve. We had originally budgeted $1 million. It came up to 1.15 on the bid. So we're gonna up that amount to match the bid amount. You'll also see the park impact fund increase to cover the rest of the project, and that's $136,000. We also included $100,000 for the installation of the new meter reading antenna to be able to do remote meter reads and shutoffs. Is there any questions about any of these? Do you know?
Sorry, what?
How big is the antenna gonna be for $100,000?
Well, it's, we can discuss that in the next agenda item, but.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Item D is ordinance number 1254-25, Comcast franchise agreement.
All right, so this has been an on and off discussion since the expiration of this in 2014. We are now to a point where we're moving forward with another 10-year franchise agreement with Comcast. Right now, the PEG fee, this was the big holdup, is the PEG fee. What is the amount? It's 5%, and that's original contract amount. Chief and I were actually talking just before the meeting. We're about to get the final quote to upgrade the Channel 21 stuff. Once we do that, we'll reassess this fee before the next council meeting, and we'll see if that would cover the cost of it or not.
I mean, they were talking about requesting a 3.4 or 3.5 instead of the 5%. That's Comcast. They'd like to be able to negotiate that down.
Sure they would.
Yeah. And part of this includes language where both parties can open it up again to
Yeah.
renegotiate.
And all they do is turn around and charge the customers for that.
Yeah. Make sure I got that right.
Ships out something and they can't do that.
Yeah, I can ask them.
They won't charge us, they'll just raise the rent for rentals, like they've been doing.
And Emily from Zach's office, she's been the in-between for negotiating. She does a lot of franchise agreements. All right, let me
This probably isn't a place, but I've got some more emails from the competitors. It's
really?
easy for them.
Yeah, no, we've already.
We actually just got their application fee in the mail to check today. So we're starting that negotiation process.
And the others to follow as well. Competition.
Yeah, it's good. So take a gander at this. There's no rush on it. Like I said, Chief and I will figure out a better peg fee for next meeting. Any first questions?
All right, moving on to item E, FCS utility rate study agreement.
Right, so this proposal, this contract is to do a rate study of the sewer, water, and storm water to make sure that we have the adequate funding for both operating and capital costs included for the next 6 years, and to make sure we have healthy reserve balances moving forward. This is the first review. The total price came in at $50,355, and that includes a $5,000 contingency. It initially was a little bit higher, but we talked to them about less meetings, and they can do one Zoom meeting to cover this off.
On to item F, which is resolution 1298-25, awarding the sanitary sewer evaluation project bid.
So as I mentioned earlier, the first bid we rejected because it was too high. It was almost $100,000 higher than the engineering estimate. We sent out requests for proposals through MSRC, and the lowest bid we received only 3 bids, but the lowest was $215,395, and the highest was $363. Gray and Osborne checked out ventilation, power, and cleaning, and they met all the requirements. Inspect LLC was actually here, and they made a comment to Jessica and I when we opened up the bids that ventilation, power, and cleaning was a good company. So I'm pretty confident of this choice.
Any questions? We're on to item G. Algona Police Officers Association 2026 to 2029 collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, what you have before you for first touch tonight, I wanted to get an early start on contract negotiations, and so that we're not doing this down to the wire and we have a clear understanding what we're looking at budgetary wise as we go into budget season. So in January, we formally started negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police and the Algona Police Officers Association. We tentatively reached an agreement pending approval of this body of the document to have before you. Key notes of the document, the COLA, they did not like the previous language, which was no less than, no more than. So we agreed on talking to Ms. Jessica and talking to the mayor, we agreed on a 3.5 each year for the terms of the contract. The other things, we took out education incentive from premium pay because every one of the officers except one, has a degree. One of the parameters that the mayor put on me when I went into this contract negotiation as representing the city was retention. So I took that into consideration. Other things to lean toward retention that we wanted to point out to the bargaining unit was a small match to health savings account at HSA to get them to start thinking about the future and investing in staying at the city of Algona for a long term. So the things that we have in there are both within budget constraints, but at the same time allows them a little more flexibility pay-wise. Again, they still opted to give up their holiday pay in lieu of a flat premium. They did not want an increase on that premium. So it's remained the same as it did the last contract when they gave up their contract pay. So to be fair, the biggest sticking point was language around officer-involved shootings. I think we came to an agreement. I have to have language in the contract because the local regional investigative team, the MOU that the city has with them, requires that I have language about officers providing statements that are involved. At the same time, I totally understand they want to make sure their Fifth Amendment rights are protected. That was the biggest sticking point of this. We worked collaboratively, and what you have in front of you is a work product from those months of negotiations. First touch.
Thank you, James. Let's go to item H, meter reading system upgrade.
Thank you. So we got a price from Ferguson to upgrade our the way we read our meters. We could do it remotely from the city hall. That allows us, reduces our labor cost for the public works. We don't have to go out and read meters. And it also allows us to watch for leaks and so forth in the system. And residents can monitor how much water they're using The total bill for that is $98,000 up front. I don't know how big the antennas are, but I can find out for next meeting. And then it's $5,000 a year, or approximately $5,400 a year every year thereafter. And we can shut off the meters from here.
It's amazing.
So is that reusing the existing meters we have?
Yes.
So it's just a software upgrade?
Yeah, correct.
Cool.
And an antenna.
And an antenna, you're gonna have an antenna.
Where would the antenna be?
On top.
City Hall, yeah.
It is 37 feet to the top of this building.
You just want.
No.
So the question I have is there gonna have to be any new mechanical device put on top of these meters? Because they have a valve that you turn on and off. How are you gonna turn the water off?
I'll have to get that information for you for the next meeting.
It's got a stop valve on it. It's just where the reader is, it's on top where it's on the lid, actually. You just lift the lid off, it's right there. It's just weird.
Let me get you the drawing and stuff.
And you can read it all from here. What's the transparency and accountability of making sure they're reading the right, numbers? They have to go out and verify it once in a while, don't they?
Well, I would think so, but we can probably check from what they've been using for the last 12 months too.
See how close they are.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Item I is comprehensive flood hazard management plan.
Me again? We've had a workshop on the flood hazard. We had Stacy Clear from Gray and Osborne out. They presented their plan. We want them to wrap it up now, make some final changes, identify properties that if we ever to purchase some would be based on priority on the list. We have to change some of the elevations within the report. They weren't quite 100%, and some minor wording in there. But other than that, we want to wrap it up, and so we can utilize that for grant applications as well.
Last discussion item is J, purchase and sale agreement for 35 11th Avenue North. Thank you again, John.
Thank you. What I'd like to do is bring to your attention the paper that I have provided there. So, why purchase this property? And I had discussions with our engineering firm, Gray & Osborne. I've had discussions directly with MHC. We're sub-consultants. And the proposal would be to purchase this property and then demolish the house and put a small pumping station there, just based on single-phase power. We know right now that if we pump water where we're pumping it with the diesel powered pump, we can make that water disappear on 11th. It's not the best solution, but it is a solution. So the thought process here after my discussions with them is to set up a small pumping station where that house is, pump it directly into the ditch, and but also improve the berm by adding more topsoil to it, or even a maintenance road all the way down. And that way we can actually pump the water over the dike or berm, and we can make that water disappear. Now, I know there was a proposal in the hazard flood control plan of $5 million for a pumping station, but that was like 20,000 gallons a minute. And what I'm proposing here is a couple 2-horsepower pumps that can do 600 gallons a minute of low head. So in a flood situation, though, what we could do is put connection for a much larger pump. So we would bring out, during high flood events, bring out a diesel powered pump connected to there and utilize a diesel pump because it's not going to happen that often. So this is a much simpler, a better system to do that. We also have to put backflow preventers in and so forth along the way. And we're not exactly sure yet how far up we have to build the berm, but I can't imagine it being past maybe 8th Avenue. It gets pretty steep in that area. And so we're getting a proposal from NHC and Gray and Osborne, and we're going to review who we want to actually, long-term go forward with such a, to help us with this. So we have a signed purchase and sale agreement by the owner, and for $295,730. This is first review. I think this is going to go a long ways in solving flooding problems here in Algona. Happy to answer questions on this.
Yeah, can you use the same service line to the property as you just put on like a stand to run your pump off?
Yeah. That would be the plan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, John, for thinking outside the box. I appreciate this approach.
Yeah.
I've been hearing over the last several years. And, it sounds like it's a good plan going forward.
Yeah, it forces the water into the Auburn 400 ponds.
That's a discussion to have later, right?
Any other questions? I see no new business, old business. Old business item A is King County Get Active, Stay Active Grant Agreement.
Okay, I asked to explain this one. This is up for final passage tonight. This is the grant that Gary, our Gary, applies for through Councilmember Von Brickfier's office. And we've received it. The reason I'm asking is kind of cover my report a little bit. We're going to use some of that money to pay for bike helmets to provide at the bike rodeo, which is June 7th. And again, this year we'll be shutting Ward Street down, and we'll be doing the bike rodeo on Ward Street, a street, more like a street carnival type event. So we'll still have we'll still have stations, but we'll also have different venues, people working on bikes. Also Gerard's gonna be doing he likes to do the balloon animal thing. He'll be there doing the balloon animal thing, and we'll be doing fitting for helmets and raffling off a few bikes. So other than that, stand for any questions.
We're gonna not use that same spray paint we used last year that was permanent.
I can't guarantee that, sir. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to use chalk.
They got chalk paint.
Yeah. I just want to point out it was a public works. No, I'm just kidding.
It's called graffiti.
It's protected conservation limits.
I make a motion to authorize the execution of King County Get Active, Stay Active grant agreement.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve the King County Get Active, Stay Active Grant Agreement. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passed. Ordinances and resolutions. Item A is ordinance number 1252-25, amending parking related Algona municipal codes.
Okay, so it's been a while since we updated our no parking code, and as you heard our illustrious Public Works Director speak about earlier, we're going to be doing a walking trail along Algona Boulevard, and in preparation of that walking trail going in, we're going to need to designate the west side of Algona Boulevard as a no parking. That being said, City Administrator and I had a conversation on Thursday about maybe in the future having a work session about adding to this resolution at a later date, any other streets this council deems that there should be no parking. Otherwise, we fall back to the model traffic ordinance that we've adopted by reference, also in the same section of code, that has several parking restrictions that we do enforce in municipal court.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 1252-25, amending parking-related Algona use of roads.
Second.
A motion and a second approving ordinance number 1252-25. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Pass. Next workshop.
There's a couple things I want to put on this council's radar. I can do it now or in the good of the order.
Okay.
That I'm working on. Our contract for our body cams is coming due this year. And in order for preparation to get ready for the next budget cycle, I've been in negotiations with Axon. I do not see us moving away from Axon cameras. No body cam company has come forward in the last 5 years to even come close to what they're doing with body cams. So I asked them to prepare a 10-year contract. There was savings. I do know that the city of Kent also went down the same road recently. There is, I wouldn't say it's substantial savings, but I have another meeting this week to discuss, but there are savings per year the longer you carry out the contract. So I would like to bring that forward at a work session first, have Axon do a presentation, kind of talk about the last 5 years of what it's been like with Axon. It seems like it hasn't been 5 years, but it has. Go for it, talk about, as you've heard Jessica talk about, the increasing rising costs in court. I am going to do a feasibility study on whether it's more cost effective to go back to our own municipal court, or that the reason, the genesis for this, King County sprung on us in February. And if you pick up the Auburn paper, the Auburn recently made a decision on this as well. I was reading the article tonight, but I've been involved in these meetings. I really am uncomfortable with springing the cost of probationary services on us mid-contract. They say they were being transparent. I just didn't feel right. So we need to be looking at all options to what's best for the city, both from a policy standpoint and both from a fiduciary standpoint. And so I want to put on this council's radar for a future workshop to discuss about going back to our own municipal court.
It would be our court, not sharing.
Correct.
What does that look, I mean, I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves maybe. What does that look like?
So right now we pay for 1.5 court days. So 1 court day a month and a half a court day. So that's what we pay King County. So all the tickets, all the court cases from Algona are held on 1.5 days. So I'm thinking that we go back to 1 day of court, because here with some few physical changes that can be mitigated, and then we look for a contract judge and a part-time FTE that would have to be funded by court revenue to manage the court. So like a court clerk or a court administrator. Does that make sense? So I'm going to start exploring options, provide options, but we need to think about King County District Court is not getting any cheaper, as Jessica and Tara will tell you. And I am concerned about it because of the way the contract is unfolded. And all of a sudden now we're talking about having to pay probationary services. What's next? So.
How long is our contract?
So that contract is good for 4 years, but we have an opt-out because they sprung on the contract cities. So this is not just Algona, just to be clear. It's the 25 contract cities that contract with district court. They gave us an opt-out clause because they're springing this on us mid-contract. And if you want to know, if you haven't read the paper, Auburn voted 5-2 to opt out and form their own municipal court. So.
workshop. We talked about a lot of stuff. Is there anything before next workshop, or will it take a few weeks past that to make arrangements for what you want to see?
Right, now remember Judge Harn's here, is wanting to come in front of you, our judge, our municipal judge. So I want to do this workshop before then, so that you guys are armed with some questions for the good judge.
Well, when will you be ready to do that?
2 weeks? Like I said, I've been engaged on this.
Okay.
This is one of those things where I'm finally ready to bring it to council, talk about it. So,
So the next workshop will be,
court,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
is there anything else for good of the order?